Well, welcome to the Getting Started with Moodle 2.0 video course. In this video course, we're going to show you numerous features inside of Moodle 2.0 and explain how you can begin using it in your different courses. The video is basically divided up into three main topics. First, we're going to talk about how to set up your profile inside of Moodle. Second, we're going to show you how to go into your courses and edit the course details. And finally, we're going to go ahead and show you how to add resources and activities to a particular course. Let's go ahead and get started. This course doesn't assume any previous experience using Moodle. However, it does assume that you have reasonable computer skills and that you know how to use a web browser. Here you can see I've logged into the main Moodle window. You can look in the upper right hand corner and see if you're logged in or not. You'll also notice there's a link here for logging out of the system. Now, the main Moodle window is basically divided into a couple different areas. You have your left hand and right hand navigation areas here. And this is actually called the Navigation and Settings panel. And over here is called your Blocks panel. In the center is going to be where all your different course information is listed. In this case, I'm just enrolled in one course. Now, the first thing you should do when you log into Moodle is go in and look at your profile and see if you want to add some information to it. If you come over here to My Profile, you're going to see that there's a triangle pointing to the right. If I click on that triangle pointing to the right, you're going to see that it gives me a drop-down menu here. And I can click on View Profile, and I can see all the information about my particular profile here. You can see there's not much information in here. If you want to add or edit the information that's inside of your profile, you'll need to come here and click on Settings. And underneath My Profile Settings, you've got an option for Edit Profile. If I go ahead and click on that, a new window is going to appear, and you're going to see that you can fill out information to add to your profile. You can see here I've got my name and my email address, as well as some other information that isn't really very commonly changed. If you don't understand what one of these fields is, it's best just to leave it as the default. One thing you may want to do is scroll down here underneath Description. And this is where you can add any information you want people that are looking at your profile to see. I just said thank you for looking at my profile here, but you could put your contact information in, your office hours, whatever you want to put in this area, you can. You're also going to notice that there are some toolbars above the area that you type the information in. And most of these buttons here work exactly the same way as they would, let's say, in Microsoft Word. For example, the B button makes something bold. Font family allows you to change the font of something. You have some heading styles right over here that you can add to your page. You can basically put whatever you want in this information area here, or you can leave it entirely blank. If I scroll down just a little bit more, you're going to see we've got a place where you can upload a picture or avatar for yourself. A space for you to put in your interests. And if I scroll down, there's some more contact information that I can fill in here. For example, I can enter in a web page here, my Skype ID if I want students to be able to contact me via that, or my instant messaging information. You'll also see there's a spot for institution and department here, as well as your office phone number and your mobile phone. Once you've gone ahead and filled out any information you want to in your profile, you can simply click Update Profile to make those changes stay. And you'll now see a summary of your profile here. And you can see here's that phrase that I typed into the description box, and here's the additional information that I applied to in that dialog box. So nothing too terribly difficult about that, but it is the first thing you should do when you begin using Moodle is check your profile. And again, to view your profile, you can come right here to My Profile and click on View Profile. And to edit your profile, you'll come down here to Settings, and underneath My Profile Settings, you'll see there's an option for editing your profile. Also in this area, there's a link to change your password. You should change your password on a regular basis, and it also should be a strong password. A strong password has a combination of letters, numbers, and symbols. It doesn't just contain all lowercase symbols or lowercase letters. It'll have uppercase letters, lowercase letters, maybe a number, and a symbol inside of it. So that's basically how you set up your profile. And again, when you're finished with that, you'll be able to save it and then go wherever you want. You're also going to notice up here at the top, right underneath the banner, I have what's called breadcrumb navigation. And right now I'm on the View Profile screen. If I want to go back to the Home screen, I can just click right here on Home, and you'll see it brings me back to that main window. Now the next thing you're going to want to do after you set up your profile is to actually go in and take a look at your courses and set up any information you need for them. All the courses that you're currently a part of will be listed here underneath My Courses. If I click on the name of the course, I'll go into that particular course. I'll go ahead and click right there, and here I am inside of my course. And you can see there's no information at all. This is just a completely empty and blank course. If I look over here in my navigation window, you can see some additional information. Underneath My Courses, you're also going to have any course that you're currently involved in listed. And again, there's that little arrow that I can click to expand and collapse that menu. You can see the other participants, both the teachers and the students that may be a part of this course, by clicking right here on Participants as well. If you scroll down just a little bit further, under Settings, you're going to see the Course Administration section. And underneath that, you have an option here for Edit Settings. And that's going to let you go in and change any settings you want about your course. I'll go ahead and click that. You'll see it brings me to this window right here. I can edit the name of the course that I want and enter a description of the course right here. I'm going to go ahead and just type, "This is a simple course description." And again, any information that you type in here should probably apply to the entire course, not just one individual lesson. You'll see how to edit the individual lessons in a later video. Now, after you've done this, probably one of the most important things you're going to need to decide is the format for your course. There's two basic formats for you to choose from: a weekly format and a topical format. If you're in a weekly format, each section of your course is going to correspond to 1 week of instruction. So it's going to be sequential. If I go ahead and change that from weekly format to topical format, instead of showing the material in the course by week, you're going to be able to set up different topics and then add activities and resources to those particular topics. And you'll see how that works in just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and skip over the rest of this information here, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save Changes, and you'll come back in here, and you can see instead of a date here, I've just got topic number 1 listed here. And again, if I come back over here and say edit the settings for my course and scroll down a little bit and change that to weekly format right there, and I can then go ahead and scroll all the way to the bottom and click Save Changes. And now you're going to see it's showing the current week right here. So you can very easily switch between a weekly format and a topical format, whichever fits your class best. And again, really quickly, in order to get to your course settings, you'll simply come to your home page, click on the name of the course, and then come down here under Settings and come in here to Edit Settings. And again, when I do that, I come to this dialog box, and again, I can very easily change from weekly to topical format right here. You can also choose the number of weeks or topics that are going to be included in your course. If you do topics, you can always change this. You can change the number of weeks as well, but usually that's fixed, so that won't be changing. But if you select a topical format and discover you need 1 or 2 extra topics, you can always come back in here and change this. You can also set the course start date from right here and choose whether or not students can see their grade book or not. And again, if you say yes here, they'll be able to see whatever grades you enter in for whatever assignments you've set up inside of Moodle. You can also specify the maximum upload size here. 2 megabytes is quite a bit for Word documents or PDF documents, but if your students are going to be uploading things to you, or you're going to be adding resources that have a lot of images or possibly video inside of them, you may need to change that from 2 megabytes to a different level, for instance 8 megabytes here. Scrolling down a little bit further, you can choose whether or not to allow guest access to your course, and if you allow guest access, you can set up a password for it to give out. And again, this is only for students that are not enrolled in your course, if for some reason or another you want them to be able to go in and see the material that's there. Finally, if I come down here to availability, you're going to see it says this course is available to students. If I click this drop down, I can go ahead and make the course unavailable to students at any time. I'm going to go ahead and select that should be made available to students, and I'm going to go ahead and click Save and Change. So those are the basic options that you need to set up when you go ahead and start working in a course inside of Moodle. And again, the steps we've looked at so far are going in and editing your profile, and then going into your courses and editing some basic settings about that. Well, now that we've gone ahead and done that, let's go ahead and see how we would actually start adding content to our course. Now, in order to edit the material that's inside of your course, you're going to have to come up here and click on this button that says Turn Editing On. And if I go ahead and click that, you're going to see that I get a variety of little icons here that will allow me to do different things. By default, I just have one topic listed here, as well as my news forum. We're going to go ahead and talk about the forums later, but basically they can be used for discussions, posting questions, just general communication through the class. Whenever you see a little hand with a pencil here, it means that you have the ability to edit that item. And I want to go ahead and edit topic 1. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that right there. And you can see it's going to bring me into summary for topic 1 right here. And I can now go ahead and uncheck default section name, because I don't want it just to be called section 1. And I can click here and I can type information. So I'm going to go ahead and name this Getting Started with Moodle. And you can also enter in whatever kind of information you want into this text block down here. You're also going to notice again you have these toolbars here with a variety of different tools that will allow you to do different things inside of this. And this should be very familiar to anybody who's used Microsoft Word or possibly Excel before. Obviously the B button means bold, you've got the font, the alignment, and again these buttons should be fairly familiar to you. They do basically the same thing that they would inside of Microsoft Word. If you're unsure of what a particular button does, all you have to do is actually just hover over it, and you'll see, again, just like inside of Microsoft Word, you get a little yellow tooltip. Oops, it went away there. That tells you what that button does. In this case, it aligns it to the center. So I can go ahead and type this is a sample description of the course. And again, you can put an unlimited amount of information into this section and format it in any way that you want using these tools right here. Once I've gone ahead and added any information about that topic, I can just click Save Changes, and it's going to bring me back to my editing window, and you'll see this topic now has a title, and then there's the description right underneath that. Now, when you're through adding or editing content in your course, you can turn the editing off, and actually you need to make sure you turn the editing off. And you do that by clicking the Turn Editing Off button right here. If I click that, you'll see now I see the course just as a user would. If you ever want to see how your course is going to appear to your students, you can also scroll down here and you're going to see right underneath Settings for the course, it says Switch Role To. And if I click that arrow, I can say, show me the course as it appears to a student in my class, or as a guest in my class, or if you have these non-editing teachers. Usually that's something like a grad assistant. So you can very easily switch your roles and see a course as a student would see it. And that way you don't have to worry, are you showing something you shouldn't, or have you added something that you didn't mean to give them access to right now, but you want to give them access to later. Very useful feature right here. And again, when you want to go back in and continue editing the course, adding materials, taking materials out, you just click on Turn Editing On right here. And again, when I do that, here we are back in this window. Now, after you've set up the topic name and description for this particular topic, you're ready to start adding things to this topic. And things that you can add to a topic or a week if you're in weekly format are basically broken down into resources and activities. Resources are information you provide to students. Activities are actions that you want them to participate in. If I click the Add a Resource button right here, you can see the different types of things that you can add to your course. Probably the most popular is going to be File right here. So if I want to upload some sort of a document, I can do that just simply by clicking on File. And now I come into the File Picker right here. First thing I need to go ahead and do is type in a name for this resource. So I'm going to go ahead and just type in sample Word document. And again, you could type a description for the resource right here if you wanted to. And again, as much information as you want, you can place in this box. And when I scroll down a little bit more, you're going to see content right here, and it's asking me to select the files that I want to upload. You can also create folders. We'll go ahead and talk about that next. In this case, I just want to upload a single file. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add, and that brings me into the File Picker window. I can pull files off the server. I can check recent files. I can upload a file from my computer, or I can go into my personal private file repository. And again, probably the way you're going to do this the most is you're going to be uploading documents from your computer. So I can come here and click on Upload a File. It brings me into this window, and I'm going to go ahead and click on Choose File, and I get a fairly standard Open dialog box here. I can go ahead and go wherever I want in my file system on my computer and add whatever I need to. So I'm going to go ahead and click here on Basic Class Files, and I actually have a Word document right here. I'm going to go ahead and click on, and then click Open, and you'll see that document has been added. I can also change the name of it if I want, and set the author, or choose an open source license if I wanted to. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and leave that as all rights reserved, and I'm going to click Upload the file. And you can now see that file has been added to your course. Again, you can come up here and edit this information if you want. And when you're ready, you can click Save and return to course. And now you can see I have that sample Word document that's been added to this topic or this week in my course. If I click Add a Resource here and choose Folder, that's going to allow me to create a folder and upload different files. So I'm going to go ahead and create a folder. I'm going to go ahead and call this Baseball Documents. And I'm going to go ahead and type in Baseball Statistics for the description. And now I'm going to go ahead and click on Add. And again, it brings me back into this file picker. I'm going to click Choose File, and I'm again here inside of my file system on my computer. I'm going to go ahead and select baseball stats for 1871 there, and then I'm going to go ahead and click Upload the file. I'm going to click Add again and choose File. I'll select the next Excel document right there and upload this file. Now you'll see I have 2 in this folder. And I can click Add again and choose File, and we'll grab one more Excel document and click on Upload this file. And you can see I now have 3 items that are going to be inside of this folder. You can also click on here, Create Folder, and add subfolders within folders, exactly like you would inside of your normal Windows or Macintosh computer. And again, once I've added all these documents, I can click Save and Return to Course, and you'll see I now have my document there, but I also have a folder here. And if I click on that folder name, there are the different documents that are inside of my folder name. Since I'm still editing, I actually have an Edit button right here. And again, remember, there's a variety of different ways to back out of any section inside of Moodle. You have your breadcrumb navigation right up here. You also have your navigation pane right here. If I want to jump back to the top of the course, I can click on Training Test Course right here, and it brings me back inside of here. So far I've added a folder and a file. If I click the drop down here, I could create a web page and attach that web page to this topic as well. When I click on Page, you'll see again it brings this information up in here. I can go ahead and type sample web page. And then again, this is a description of the web page. Oops. And this would be the actual page content right here. And again, you can type in as much or as little information as you want into this area. And you can also format it whatever way you want using these buttons right up here. Remember, your styles are right here. And you've got your heading styles here for accessibility. When you're finished adding a web page, you can simply go ahead and say Save and Return to Course, and there's now a sample web page that's been attached to my document. There's not really anything too webby about this, so you can consider this just sort of like a blank slate to add information to. Finally, if I click Add a Resource here, you can add a link to other areas. So I can click on URL there, and I'm going to go ahead and type in a name here. I'm going to go ahead and type in Cal State Los Angeles. I could type in a description of the link here. And again, that could be whatever information you want in there. And then I need to go ahead and enter the link into this area. And I'm going to go ahead and just type http://www.calstatela.edu. And when I'm finished, I can go ahead and click Save and Return to Course. And I now have a link to the Cal State Los Angeles homepage. And when I click on that, you'll see it brings me to that particular page. I'm going to hit the back button to go back into my course. So lots of different resources that you can add to your course. Now you're also going to notice there are a number of little icons to the right of each resource that you've added here. And these are fairly self-explanatory. If you want to indent something underneath the previous item, you've got your little right-hand arrow here. If I wish to change the positioning of an element, I have some move up and down arrows right here, and you'll see the up and the down arrow right there. If I wish to edit an item, I got the little hand with the pencil on it right there. Or if I wish to delete an item, I have the little X right here. If you wish to temporarily hide an item rather than delete it, You also have this little eye icon right here that will allow you to show and hide different elements in this list. And again, when you want to reveal the item, all you have to do is click the little icon right there again. So that's a quick overview of resources and how you can add them. When you're done editing, again, you're going to come up here and click Turn Editing Off. And you'll now see the topic with the resources, and there's no longer any editing features inside of here. The next thing we should go ahead and look at are the different activities that you can add to your topics. Adding activities to a week or to a topic can be done by clicking right here where it says Add an Activity. Now there are a lot of different options underneath here, but we're just going to cover the basics of using Moodle today. And probably the most frequently used item underneath activities is assignments. And there are 4 different options here. Advanced uploading of files will allow them to upload multiple files to complete an assignment. Online text will take them to a particular web page or area in Moodle that will allow them to read some information online. The most popular activity is probably going to be upload a single file. And this will allow a student to upload a single file in order to complete an assignment. If the assignment is completely offline, there's also an offline activity option here. So if the activity was read a particular section in a textbook or do something that they don't have to upload any file into Moodle for, you could select offline activity right here. I'm going to say this activity involves uploading a single file. So I'll go ahead and select that there. And I'm going to go ahead and give the assignment a name. I'm just going to go ahead and type sample assignment here. And then I'm going to come down underneath here and I'm going to type a description of it. Sample description. And again, this is where the actual description of the assignment would go. And you can use all these normal editing tools right up here. You can specify dates that the assignment is available from, as well as a due date. Finally, you can go ahead and say whether or not you allow students to submit late assignments right here. If you're going to tie this into an item inside of your gradebook, you can also select a category right here. If I click this drop down here, you'll see we haven't set any categories up, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that uncategorized. And there are some other options down here. The maximum size that you're going to allow students to upload. If this is a normal Word or text document, 1 megabyte may be enough, but you may want to just increase that to 8 megabytes or just to give everybody room to upload whatever they need to do that. If you want to be alerted when somebody uploads an assignment, you could change that to yes, and you can choose whether or not you allow the assignments to be resubmitted. I'm going to go ahead in here and say save and return to course. And you'll see now that that activity has been added to this particular topic. And you'll see it's right there, sample assignment. If I was to click turn editing off there, you'll see I've got sample assignment right there. And when somebody was to click on it, they would see the sample description of the assignment right there. So activities are very easy to add to Moodle. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of this, and again there's a variety of different ways I can navigate around. I'm going to go ahead here and use my breadcrumbs. You could also use your navigation right over here, and this jumps me back to this place inside of Moodle. And again, I have editing turned off now. I could turn it back on and edit any of these items that I wanted to. The online gradebook in Moodle can be accessed by coming right over here and clicking on Grades. And if I click on Grades right here, it's going to bring me into my gradebook. I had already set up a category in here and it was called it exams, and sample assignment has been placed under that single category. I need to go ahead and edit that category because obviously this is not an exam. I'm going to go ahead and click right there on that little pencil there, and I'm going to go ahead and just type in assignments. And then I'll go ahead and click Save Changes. And now I see that sample assignment has been listed here under assignments. And you can add as many categories as you want to your gradebook. I actually don't have any students enrolled in this course, so you can see I actually don't have any first and last names here. If I was to click on somebody's, if I had a student here and I was to click on sample assignment, I'd be able to come in here, and this is where you can go ahead and edit the grades for any students. In this case, the instructor is the only one here, but if you just pretend this was a student, you could click on grade right here, and you could assign a grade for this particular project. You can also leave feedback for the student on that assignment right here. When you're finished, you can go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and assign a grade here. Say 94 out of 100, and save changes, and save preferences. And I've now gone ahead and assigned a grade for that particular assignment. In this case, it was for the instructor, which doesn't make a lot of sense, but if you had students, you would do it exactly the same way. And again, to get back into the main window for your course, you can either use your breadcrumb navigation here, or you can click on Training Test Course right there. So the gradebook, again, can be accessed right underneath here, underneath Settings. The final tool that I want to show you in this Getting Started series is also underneath Settings, and that's the Backup option. When you click on Backup, you'll be able to back up either part or all of your course. And this is a good thing to do on a regular basis, or at least at the midpoint in the course, just in case something happens. And again, you can choose what you want to back up here. I can go ahead and check any of these that are available to me. If I don't have anything in that particular category, for instance, I don't have any comments on any of my course materials, you won't be able to check that. But in this case, it's going to back up activities, blocks, and any filters that I've set up. I'm going to go ahead and click on Next here. And again, you come in and it's going to show you all the different assignments and different items here that you can back up. I'll click Next. And again, you're just going through and choosing what you want to back up. And normally you're going to go ahead and select just the items that are important to you. If you want to do this really quickly, though, you can just leave the standards and everything in your the standard choices here, and everything in your course will be backed up. And when I click Perform Backup, it will go ahead and back all this information up for me. I'll click on Perform Backup, and you'll see the computer's working there. I got my hourglass shape, and you're going to see the backup was created successfully. When I click on Continue, I can go ahead and manage my backups here, or I can restore from a backup. So if something happened and some assignments got messed up or anything, all I have to do is click on Restore, and it would allow me to restore that. And there is the backup along with the date right there. If you want to download your backup to your local computer, you can also click Download right here, and you could save this onto a flash drive. And I'm going to come back here to Training Test Course, and I'm back at my main window. And again, this video wasn't meant to be an in-depth introduction to Moodle. It was more meant to be a getting started tour to show you some of the features. Probably the best thing that you can do as far as learning Moodle at this point is just to go in and try and work with some of the different features, look around, and then the campus will be providing additional training and support for some of the more advanced features inside of Moodle. Thank you for taking the time to participate in this video training.